come together for convocation to celebrate the inauguration of our new college president. But before the official convocation, it is appropriate to offer an invocation, a gathering prayer, one inviting God, the God of your understanding, to be present and to bless us. Will you pray with me? Holy One, this is sacred space, nestled in your ardent beauty, founded to honor the unfulfilled promise of a child, and shaped by generations of generous, visionary, dedicated leaders. Sweetbriar has long been a beacon of empowerment, of learning, of opportunity, and of nurture to educate, innovate, challenge, and inspire. In this spirit, we bring you Mary Pope Maybank Hutson, a brilliant, persistent, courageous woman who has said yes to leading our college. With your guidance, great God, may she lead with compassion, integrity, and vision that embraces the diverse voices and stories within our college. In this moment of transition, we are reminded of the power of our shared mission and the strength we possess as community. May we support President Hutson, uplift one another, fostering a respect and a camaraderie that empowers each woman to realize her potential. Gracious God, be with us now. Bless this college, its administration, its faculty, its staff, and its students. May our pursuit of knowledge be illuminated by curiosity and commitment. As we gather today, we lift our hearts in gratitude for the past, in hope for the future, and in unity as we move forward together. In your many names we pray, amen.
I'd like to do the reading for the land acknowledgement. Please be seated. Sweetbriar College acknowledges the many benefits, responsibilities, and relationships of being in this place. We respectfully acknowledge the Monacan Indians, upon whose historic homeland our college is located, who have lived on this land for generations.
Greetings, alumni, friends, current and former board members, faculty, staff, students, and most especially friends and family of President Hutson. My name is Mason Rummel, and I'm honored to be the board chair of Sweetbriar College. It is my honor to stand before you today on the campus of Sweetbriar College, where so many of us have lived, learned, and worked. As chair of the Sweetbriar College Board of Directors, I have witnessed some of the most incredible displays of loyalty and devotion to our alma mater. It has been 54 years since I first laid eyes on this place. I was 9 years old and declared at that time I would attend Sweetbriar. And 45 years ago, I called Sweetbriar my home. Since then, every time I come up the drive, I fall in love all over again. This place has a mysterious and unique hold on us. We come here to learn, and we go to class, meet with our professors, and in my day, take comprehensive exams to earn our degrees. But Sweetbriar is about so much more than 4 years of education on a beautiful landscape. Sweetbriar shows us who we are and who we have the potential to be, and its people help us get there. It may be our professors who not only teach us, but take the time to show us the way to a successful career or next step in our education. It could be an alumna we met during our 4 years who showed us what a wizened Sweetbriar woman could be. Still, others learned what our potential is from our own friends and classmates those treasured people in our lives who are always there to hold us accountable, to remind us of where we've come from, and to support us on the many journeys of our lives. I am lucky enough to stand before you today to celebrate one such person in my life, Mary Pope Maybank Hutson, the 14th president of Sweetbriar College. Yes, it's true we were classmates, but that pales in comparison to the experience I have had watching her work for the good and work for the right, for Sweetbriar for decades as a volunteer, and even more so as a devoted staff member of this college since 2015. When Mary Pope agreed to work at Sweetbriar, it just made sense. We'd been just through a milestone in our history during which she and many others helped us raise millions that it would take to avoid a path some thought was inevitable. And she agreed to serve on the settlement board and shortly thereafter came to work for the college to keep that momentum going. Mary Pope Hutson has fulfilled that promise. She had the courage to persevere, and she has never slowed down in her last 9 years. Her passion for Sweetbriar and her pace are unmatched. Now we turn to another key member of the Sweetbriar community, and one whose legacy continues on, Sweetbriar's 12th president, Phil Stone. Phil is a graduate of Bridgewater College and the University of Virginia Law School. He also practiced law in Virginia for 24 years. In 1994, he became president of Bridgewater College, and upon his retirement in 2010, he was named president emeritus. He then joined 3 of his children to form the Stone Law Group in Harrisonburg, Virginia. On July 2nd, 2015, Phil was elected as the president of Sweetbriar College and served for 2 years before retiring again in 2017. Among his many accomplishments and recognitions, Stone has been listed in the first 4 editions of the Best Lawyers in America, was president of several bar groups, including the Virginia Bar Association. Phil is also a frequent lecturer on Abraham Lincoln, was a member of the advisory board of the U.S. and the Virginia Lincoln Bicentennial Commissions, chaired the board of Thomas Jefferson's Poplar Forest, and is president and founder of the Lincoln Society of Virginia. As a college president, Phil served as chair of the NCAA Division III President's Council and chair of the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools. Stone is the recipient of various awards and recognitions, including 4 honorary doctorates, and the General Assembly of Virginia has twice passed resolutions honoring him for his contributions to education and the community. I'm also delighted to announce that as of this week's meetings, he has joined the Sweetbriar Board of Directors. Sweetbriar College is once again fortunate to be the beneficiary of Phil's wisdom, expertise, and friendship. Please welcome Philip C. Stone to the podium.
Thanks very much. It's always good to be back with the Sweetbriar community. I'm so sorry Belle Whelan was not able to get here because of travel problems, but I hope she's listening because I want to say how much I think of her and how much I looked forward to seeing her again. I worked with her when I was chair of the board at Saks and she was president, and she was really helpful to us in 2015 as we tried so hard to get back on our feet quickly and be open for school and not miss a single semester. She changed the entire face of accreditation in the South in her more than 20 years as president, so she's quite an outstanding educator. I also like to greet some of my faculty friends. I say some of my because some of you are newer, but all of you who are here in 2015 I claim as friends, and we worked hard together, didn't we? We had some pretty long days trying to put things together very quickly. And all the Sweetbriar alumni who've been so kind to me since I first got acquainted with Sweetbriar, and just so good to be back with you and to be participating in this way. The Sweetbriar Rose is not only the kind of emblem for this college. We have it in our motto. We put it in our public relations. We have it in almost everything we put out. It's even the source of our colors, pink and green. And so Sweetbriar Rose means something to us, and I think it means it's a symbol for the survival, the excellence, the beauty, the perseverance of Sweetbriar College. And I want to dwell with that theme a little bit this morning as I think about some of the leadership we have experienced historically at Sweetbriar. Because this is truly a place where roses bloom. Mary Benedict must have been a force of nature. I mean, really. Came in here at the age of 34, very well educated, couldn't possibly have thought she had job security. We'd barely built the buildings, a few buildings. She had one student, 2 professors, and she was to go get the rest. That was a little daunting. So, Mary Pope, when you think of problems that you might have in the future, just think of her, please. That was a daunting problem. But she was committed to quality education. She was committed to the liberal arts. She was committed to women's education. She wanted this to be first class. So from the beginning, the buildings were built to be beautiful. The environment was built to be a total educational environment for the students. And there was a vision. They couldn't do it the first day, or even the first year, or the second year, but had a vision. And she helped create that vision of where to go and did so many things to put us in a solid foundation at Sweetbriar. So while she was here, we can honestly say the roses bloomed at Sweetbriar. Mary Benedict was another just incredible woman who was here for a long time and took us to another level, an international and national recognition in our international activities, her own visibility in national professional associations, the esteem she enjoyed from her peers and from people outside education. And she also helped take us to another level, take the college to another level, and to make sure that we always kept thinking about what is our vision? What is the vision for the next level? Not how do we conserve what we have, how do we stay where we are, but how do we keep rising in excellence? And so while she was here, the roses bloomed. Meta Glass, I wish I'd known her because she really was an important person. And Gary Pinnell, another person I wish I'd known. You remember her. Many of you in the audience remember her because she was your president, and you remember her. And again, another extraordinary woman. And I'm not trying to diminish the value of the others I'm skipping over here, but I can't talk about everybody today. But these stick out to me as I learned the history of Sweetbriar and had a chance to be present here myself. But again, the whole idea that we would continue to pursue excellence. We get better and better and better. And then Betsy Muhlenfeld, who's here today, my dear friend, continued that commitment to excellence. I knew her when I was president of another college, and we overlapped, and we saw each other at meetings, and I could tell from talking to her that she had this energy and vision and passion for Sweetbriar to be even better and better and better, even though it had a great reputation. And then Meredith Wu came in and tried to do great things, and did great things in revising the curriculum and the educational program. In these instances, too, the roses bloomed at Sweetbriar. But there were problems. Sweetbriar almost closed a couple times. Didn't have enough money. It was hard to get enough students. And so we had those problems from the beginning. We had World War I to contend with, World War II to contend with, the Great Depression to contend with. So we had all those problems. After World War II, there were new problems. Not only those, but now the public universities were taking the market in terms of college students. And women's education was becoming less popular. And so from over 200 women's colleges at the end of World War II, we've dwindled to a couple dozen. And some very good schools have simply gone out of business. Others have become co-ed or merged into another organization. Now we have that situation that there are fewer students looking for private college education, co-ed or single-sex. There are a lot fewer people looking at single-sex education, and we contend with that. So the reality hit here in 2015 when the administration and the board said, those realities are so severe, we can't do this anymore. So we'll close with dignity, paying our bills on time, and go out of business. That's when the Sweetbriar women stepped in. And you said, no way, no how, on my watch. What an incredible thing you did. It can't be done. One of our mottos, in fact, I dreamed it up because it fits you so well, was that at Sweetbriar, the impossible is just another problem to solve. And that's what you did. You raised the money. You came and cleaned the campus. When Cheryl, who's with me here today, when Cheryl and I came over and finally got in the Sweetbriar house, there was somebody in it when we got here, and we went into the Sweetbriar house, we had little stickums on everything. We're glad you're here. Thanks for coming. We love you. We hope you're happy here. Even in the commode. Sweetbriar women overlook nothing. But in reacting to the demographics and reacting to true facts, not hypothetical facts, true facts, rational people thought the college needed to close, and you would not permit it. That was the miracle of Sweetbriar. But you got the keys. You did the hard work. You gave the money. You did everything you could to do this. And I marvel at the fact that you didn't even have access to the documents at the college because the administration was trying to close. They weren't cooperating with you. And you had to figure out, call friends and say, do you know 10 people you can tell me whose address and email address you have that I can call for money? And then call somebody else. Do you know another 10? And all of you had day jobs. Sweetbriar women are busy and fulfilled people. They have jobs. They have careers. And in spite of that, you stepped forward and saved your college. And so we were mourning briefly as we thought about the fact that this beautiful campus, one of the prettiest in the United States, this beautiful campus might be closed forever, and even the roses might go away. Because who knew what was going to become of this property? But you didn't permit it, and we were able to get the job done. And then when we had that done, and we opened school in 6 weeks, when we had no students, no faculty, no staff, no food service, we got it open in 6 weeks, we celebrated. And up on the hill, Monument Hill, we had an engraving placed, "We kept the faith, college saved. Vision endures, roses still bloom." I had the pleasure of even planting a couple rose bushes while I was here to help make the point that we see the rose very much associated with our endurance, our perseverance, and our survival. So Sweetbriar will survive and it will flourish. I mentioned that we had some difficulties when I first got here because we, like students, faculty, staff, food service, horse program, junior abroad program, and we needed to get open in 6 weeks. I did not know one person on this campus. My friend Betsy was the only person I knew around Sweetbriar, and she was not here now. In fact, Betsy, to her everlasting credit, I called her when I was asked to be president to say, "Betsy, is this something I ought to do? Is this doable? I mean, will the people support their college and so forth?" She was at the hospital with her husband, who was in his last hours, and still insisted on talking to me because she loves Sweetbriar, and she said, "Do it. Please do it." And she, like everybody else, pitched in and helped get it done. Faculty members who had not yet departed for new jobs came in to help me volunteer. I'd never met them before. I hired a dean from the faculty I'd never met before. Tom Connors is here today. He'd been chief financial officer. I said, "Tom, I don't need you on the board." He'd been put on the board. "I sure need you as a chief financial officer." I hadn't even seen the man yet. As it turned out, it was a pretty good hire, though. But we acted, and this is a point I want to make about all this. We did the impossible by acting as one team. Our motto here for that time was one team. Athletic field, campus, whatever. One team. Everybody pitched in. When I went out to the flower gardens in my first week here, 95 degrees, and a woman is hot and sweaty and pulling weeds. And I said, "You came here to do this yourself?" And "Yes." "What is your day job?" "I'm dean of a medical school." Sweetbriar woman. Fierce. People brought me care packages because I didn't have time to go eat, so they brought food in. It was not a good thing, frankly, but because I really didn't need any more food. But they contributed so much to every aspect of this campus. I called up the president of Lynchburg University, Ken Guerin, who's such a nice man, and he'd taken the horse program, and I said, "Ken, you got to give my horses back. For a mere $350,000, you may come here and ride them. And he wanted to know how that was interpreted as good news. Since I didn't know anybody, I was dependent on this one team. I was dependent on faculty members who were so kind to me. I was dependent on administrators that I could bring back in who were not part of the closing situation to help me. But I was also dependent on Mary Pope Hutson. I did not know Mary Pope. I'd never met her. But I knew from some of the names I'd heard circulated in the Saving Sweetbriar news and media and so forth, that she had been very vitally involved in raising the money to save Sweetbriar. And so I asked her, she was to be on the board, the first board, and I said, I beg you to come here, come to Sweetbriar. She had a career. She was in conservation. She had a great job, a very important job, and that was her career path. She loved it. She said, I can't do that. Yeah, you can, come on. And so I'd hired a couple of people that way, Claire Griffin. I called her and said, you come here right now, I need you. I'd never seen her either, but she was wonderful and is still here helping. So I said, you need to come help me. She gave me advice, told me some people to call on that, but she couldn't come. Finally, a few months later, she quit her job and came and took her chance, like these other illustrious administrators I've mentioned before, who took a chance on Sweetbriar at its most vulnerable time. And we got it done. We raised more money in those 2 years than you'd ever raised in history. We paid all bills on time, including the bond debt that the closing administration said we couldn't pay. Negotiated $8 million off the balance sheet, balanced the budget for the first time in many years, spent no endowment money, income or principal, for the first time probably ever, and we did not touch the Attorney General's freed up endowment funds of $16 million, which he thought we would have to operate. Because you, as one team, rose to the occasion, saying, you cannot close my college. So I was delighted, when Mary Pope was chosen as president. I saw her, of course, as a great fundraiser. But more than that, I saw someone who loved Sweetbriar. She loved it so much, she gave up her career to come to help me. And then she almost took my life, really, because she was so passionate in things like driving in Houston, 8 lanes of traffic. I said, Mary Pope, the exit's there, we won't make it. She was in the far left lane. Oh, yes, we will. Blah, 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 blah. And she moved across 8 lanes of travel. By that time, I was white as a sheet. I was about to throw up. Another time in Charleston, I had to get to the airport. She was going to drop me off. I had to get to the airport. We had about 45 miles to go, and I had to be there in about 40 minutes. We made it. Tires burned to the rim, but she said, have a nice day, and ran off. Mary Pope, you have everything you need, really, to be a great president of Sweetbriar. Our job is to help you be successful. So if you'll permit me the privilege, having paid some dues by coming here to be part of you when it was hard, I'd like to urge this. For all of you who are faculty, staff, students, alumni, friends of the college, help her be successful. Undergird her, support her. Presidency gets really lonely. Sweetbriar House is lovely. I remember sitting in the parlor at Christmas time playing Christmas music. Cheryl couldn't come because of some health problems. I put on my jacket and tie. I wasn't going to sit in Indiana's parlor after all, half dressed. So put on my coat and tie, had a nice glass of the nice wine around here, listened to Christmas music, and engaged for an hour or so just in absorbing the atmosphere of the Sweetbriar House and its history and its heritage and the people who had lived there and worked there. And I say to you, please support her even when we disagree. Try to make sure that we remain good friends, a civil community, one team, even though we may have different ideas sometimes about how the team needs to move. But trying to be supportive, encouraging to each other and to Mary Pope. Support her. And Mary Pope, I say to you, you have the ability, I urge you to keep that vision of how much better Sweetbriar can be. To solve the problems, yes, but not to conserve, but to build it better and better and better. And I want it to be said about you when your tenure is finished, as I have said about some of your illustrious predecessors. While Mary Pope Hutson was at Sweetbriar, the roses bloomed.
Thank you, Phil, for your wonderful remarks. I'm looking at the screen. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Belle Whelan, President of the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges. As Phil said, she was unable to make it today due to travel complications from Hurricane Helene, but has agreed to appear before us virtually, and there she is. Thank you. Her career spans over 40 years and includes the roles of faculty member, chief student services officer, campus provost, college president, and secretary of education. In several of those roles, as well as her current role, she was the first African American and/or woman to serve in those capacities. Dr. Whelan received her bachelor's degree from Trinity University in Texas in 1972 with a double major in psychology and sociology. Her master's from Louisiana State University in 1974 in developmental educational psychology, and her doctorate from the University of Texas at Austin in 1984 in educational administration, with a special concentration in community college leadership. We are glad that you were able to join us, Dr. Whelan, and we will turn it over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, to you and to Madam President. Phil, you know I don't miss a party if there's any way possible for me to get there. So I thank Mary and all of her staff for making this technological visit possible. To other distinguished platform guests, honorable faculty and staff, students and guests, it is truly my honor to be able to bring greetings and heartfelt congratulations from the Board of Trustees of the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges and the 799 other member institutions that make up our membership. This is truly a special day in the life of Sweetbriar College, and I wanted so much to be able to come back to my Central Virginia roots to get hugs and from all of my friends who are there. Betsy, I'll have to catch you the next time. It is a new beginning, but it is also a time of renewal and reflection. In these days of reduced budgets and increased accountability, a president's job is more complex than ever before. However, Mary, it is obvious that you have the support of the Central Virginia community in continuing to provide a high-quality education to the women who entrust their future to you. As a former college president, I want to take a few moments to share some of my some quotes on leadership that kept me motivated during my tenure. Even today, as president of the commission, and there are times when I reflected on things. The first is from Nelson Mandela, who said, "A leader is like a shepherd. He stays behind the flock, letting the most nimble go out ahead, whereupon the others follow, not realizing that all along they are being directed from behind." Mary, just remember to gently push and not shove. Second is from Martin Luther King Jr., with whom most of us are familiar with this quote. He says, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." I suggest you get good arch supports for those shoes that you're going to wear. Some lesser-known leadership quotes, though, are these from George Patton. "Don't tell people how to do things, tell them what to do, and let them surprise you with their results." Or Peter Drucker, who said, "Management is doing things right, leadership is doing the right thing." My favorite is from former Secretary Colin Powell, who says, "Being responsible sometimes means pissing people off." From A Bug's Life, The first rule of leadership, everything is your fault. You might as well get used to that one, Mary, because it will always be your fault. From Dwight D. Eisenhower, leadership consists of nothing but taking responsibility for everything that goes wrong and giving your subordinates credit for everything that goes well. Again, it's always your fault. From Dr. Seuss, be who you are and say what you mean, because those who don't matter mind and those who don't mind matter. From Hans Hansen, it takes nothing to join the crowd, it takes everything to stand alone. From an anonymous source, leadership isn't all glory. That's one of my favorites as well, because people sometimes think that leaders are there and they're going to have all the fun, but there's a lot of stuff to shovel as you're moving through those leadership piles. And from educator Marva Collins, success doesn't come to you, you go to it. The journey you're beginning will be filled with many successes and many challenges, and that warrior spirit that Phil mentioned will serve you well. I want to close with 3 keys to success that I offer you in keeping Sweet Briar open. First, maintain open communication even when opinions differ. Second, maintain a willingness to compromise and share that with all sides. And lastly, a recognition that it is the students for whom we toil in these educational vineyards. Never lose sight of that and handle all of those keys with care. Please know that all of us associated with SAC-COC stand ready to assist you in your new journey, and I have given you my cell phone number. Use it when you need it. Congratulations, my friend, and may you have a very long and very successful tenure. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Whelan, for those wonderful remarks. We are thrilled you were able to join us, so thanks again. Now, as is customary for a presidential inauguration, we will present the college symbols and artifacts to President Hutson. We begin with the will. In her last will and testament, dated April 3rd, 1899, Indiana Fletcher Williams left the bulk of her estate to fund a seminary or school for girls and young women. Indiana died on October 28, 1900. On November 23, 1900, her will was produced at the Amherst County Courthouse to be admitted into probate and recorded. This started the chain of events that led to the founding and incorporation of the Sweet Briar Institute, now known as Sweet Briar College. If you will rise and come to me. That's the will. You may stand right here because we have 2 more to go. Next, I will present the college's seal to President Hutson. The corporate seal, the seal of the corporation, shall consist of the arms of the Fletcher family, quartered with those of Lord Geoffrey Amherst, with 3 Tudor roses in chief, the escutcheon to be blazoned as follows: quarterly 1 and 4, and Fletcher, and Amherst with 3 Tudor roses. The motto, Rosum quae meruit ferat. An oval shield bears the name of Sweet Briar Institute and the date of its charter, 1901. And the scroll bearing the motto is to be twined about a vine of the Sweet Briar rose. This seal shall be used on all diplomas and all official documents of the college. This is heavy. I could hold it for you if you'd like. You got it? Great. Lastly, President Hutson will be presented with the Presidential Medallion. The President's Medallion is the badge of office for the presidency of Sweet Briar College. The medallion features the Sweet Briar College seal. The medallion is worn by the President when participating in all Sweet Briar College ceremonies. So if you will stand right here, I will put this on you and I will not mess up your hat or your hair. So now I will hold these for you. I'm going to turn this podium over to our president for her remarks.
Wow, what a day. I'm so happy to see all of you. And I think God is smiling on Sweet Briar with this sunshine today. I am honored and grateful to be here with all of you at this time celebrating Sweet Briar, its past, present, and the vision for the future. I'll speak today on why this college is a category of one, with our legacy, leadership, and vision for women's education at the very core for over 123 years. Yet first, I wish to particularly thank Mason Bennett Rummel, our board chair, for her inspiration and fortitude, and all the members of the board of directors for their support and commitment to the college. I also greatly appreciate board members Sally Mott Freeman and Kelly Manderson Fitzpatrick for their passion and commitment to the college throughout my time here, and co-chairs of the Inaugural Committee. Join me. I want to thank Belle Whelan for her friendship and decades of supporting education in all sectors, and Phil Stone for his leadership for Sweet Briar and his mentorship. I deeply appreciate both of their kind remarks. I'm very moved and humbled by what they each had to say about this college and about me personally. Also to the staff that have been a part of the planning and fulfillment of this event, especially Rachel Peach for the precision and exemplary example of leadership you always possess, and Lynette Arner and Rebecca Beard for their expertise in planning of many of the events over the last 3 days, as well as the entire Inaugural Committee. And of course, thanks to the staff in buildings and grounds and housekeeping who have worked tirelessly around the clock for this moment to celebrate the college. To our students, faculty, staff, and my fellow alumni, I thank you for loving Sweet Briar with great passion and care each and every day, and particularly during times of discussion and debate. A special salute to my dear friend, the Reverend Keenan Kelsey, for her spiritual encouragement and steadfast hand. Thanks as well to the local, state, and federal leaders here with us. Your brave decision-making and strong leadership help us fulfill our mission. I also want to direct my deep and abiding gratitude for all of my family and friends who have supported me without reservation on this journey to serve Sweet Briar at this time, which some might say is an inflection point in the history of the college. So many of my family members, those here with me today and those who have come before, embody the best exemplars of what I aspire to emulate: service to others, moral fortitude, and courageous contributions to their communities. Thank you for the gifts you've made and continue to bestow. To my fellow presidents who have traveled from near and far, Chris Stevenson, who is working to revive St. Paul's University, Lindy Lamini of the Rhodian School, a girls' school in Johannesburg, South Africa, who traveled here, all the way here today. Special guests of women's colleges and alumni of those colleges who fought valiantly to save what we hold dear. Alumna Representative Rhonda Chambers of Judson College, and alumni from Wilson College. Most importantly today, I thank all of my fellow alumni, those here in person and those on the live stream across America and the globe. We celebrate each other, and we celebrate each and every one of you for your contributions to the college. Women's colleges remain so vital and relevant to our world today. In fact, we live in a time when we need the benefits of women's colleges, now more than ever. All women's colleges, what these institutions do, what they provide for their students, and what their legacies stand for are of paramount importance. Their contributions as a particular brand of educational institution that has been in existence since the 19th century will outlive the contributions of any of us as individuals. Today, we shine a light on Sweetbriar College, its legacy, leadership, and its vision for the future. This special place and its inspiring academic experience in an incomparable setting. The dedicated faculty and staff who give selflessly of their wisdom, time, and care for us and for future generations. I also want to highlight the alumni legacy today that holds various threads of brilliance that may largely remain unknown and uncelebrated until the history books are written. Why is that the case? I believe that the humility of our alumni remains constant, even as their contribution is pivotal for so many communities that have been forever transformed. Women from every community whose love knows no bounds. My fellow alumni fought valiantly in 2010 to keep the college from going co-ed. And then again in 2015 when it was time to save the college after an ill-advised attempt to close it. We fought to save the college, and we created a movement. A movement, when fully deployed, will change the landscape of standing of women in America and overseas. Many who approach me say that our alumni base saved the college, and I remind them that every day we are still saving Sweetbriar, because the levers of vulnerability in any small, private, liberal arts college must be carefully balanced. Eternal vigilance is required each and every day to focus on those practices, procedures, and policies that could on any given day turn a great year into a daunting year. At the end of the day, did we really focus on what we were saving? We were saving the education for women. This outcome is what we will continue to stand for and represent. Before I move into the vision for the future, please indulge me for a moment for a few words of my personal journey. After growing up, of all things, on a boys' boarding school campus, yes, that is true, and I lived to tell the tale, my parents actually dedicated their lives to the education of boys and my father's 2 schools. So let's talk about life being full circle. I visited Sweetbriar in my senior year in high school. That was 1978. And I fell in love with the campus, met the extraordinary women of the college, and knew this place, this very special place, was where I would grow and find my voice. Back then, as a Latin student at Sweetbriar, wondered what the words on the college's great seal, Rosum quae meruit ferat. It was Sweetbriar's motto, as you have heard, she who earns the rose may bear it. I liked the sound of that. If she works hard, she earns it. I worked very hard. My father might have said I could have applied myself more, which he might have said out loud after my first semester, when I was heavily involved with clubs like Earphones and others, and also attended probably way too many parties. However, I did pass my comprehensive exam in international politics, graduated in 1983, and received a Sweetbriar Rose. Over these past 4 decades, I have thought a lot about the rose as not just a thing of beauty or refinement, but as something that endures. That's the thing about roses. They're beautiful, and yet if they are to endure, they require care and cultivation and can be very thorny. And as any gardening enthusiast will tell you, they require love. We mustn't forget that someone loved that rose before it came to you. Love, there's a word. As I look around today, I see so many friends and sisters, dear hearts, I love you all. You who have also been bearing the rose, these rose bearers still flowering after all these years, and yes, I think of the rose bearers no longer with us, but with us in spirit, an eternal sisterhood that someday will embrace all of us. On this campus, so familiar to me, and yet at the same time so fresh and compelling, I feel the enduring love of one woman in particular, Indiana Fletcher Williams. She was an independent woman, stalwart in her principles, and committed to the future of this place. As you all know, she endowed this college 35 years later in memory of her daughter Daisy, who died when she was just 16. After Daisy's death, Indiana resolved that other young women would be, in a philanthropic, educational way, her daughters. These new daughters would come here to Sweet Briar and learn the things that Daisy only started to know in her teenage years. Indeed, ever since, Sweet Briar women have had the opportunity in life that she never had. In this way, Daisy's dreams find life in your dreams. Daisy is buried on Monument Hill. Her harp is in the museum and in need of restoration. Her diary exists, and her curiosity and leadership are largely unexplored. Some of us visited her memorial together last week on Founders Day, and many others gathered have made the walk in past years. It's so beautiful up there. I never tire of my visits there, and every time I feel the presence of Indiana and Daisy, and I'm filled with both awe and appreciation. As we all know, sometimes out of tragedy, hard to think of anything more tragic than the loss of a child, comes an awesome beauty, beautiful as a rose. So we honor Indiana and Daisy when we bear the rose. Today, I stand before you as the first alumna of Sweet Briar to hold this position, mindful of the debt I owe to all my predecessors, to all the stakeholders, to the well-wishers, and all those opposed, and to all the rose bearers. I pledge to help and guide with all the power I can summon the next generation of rose bearers. The leaders of Sweet Briar have shown us the way. One illustrious predecessor leaps to my mind, Sweet Briar's third president, Meta Glass. Almost exactly a century ago, on November 13th, 1925, she declared at her inauguration ceremony that the challenge to the college and its students is how to make a harmonious whole out of the development of intellect, emotions, willpower, and their resultant character. President Glass further outlined the mission. How may we blend the education offered in the different parts of our college to produce this quality of fruit as the plants grow that seems to me worth our great effort. It's interesting that she chose to dwell on fruit and plants, including, of course, the rose. It is worth the moment of reflection that back in 1913, Meta Glass wrote her PhD thesis on the Roman poet Virgil and his extended poem, The Georgics. The word means from the land, akin to geo in geology or geography. In fact, the name George or Georgia refers to farming and cultivation. So as you can imagine, President Glass was in her element here at Sweet Briar. Indeed, a visitor to these thousands of acres then. And now she would be so overjoyed with the innovations on the land, with its greenhouse and vineyards, apiary and honey harvesting, as well as all its managed meadows and forests. could be forgiven for thinking that we actually abide here in some mystical, magical Avalon, enjoying our whole natural foods where the cares of the world are very far away. This is indeed a wonder of a place. I hope you'll enjoy it as much as I have and do every day. And yet the women of Sweetbriar aim to be consequential, to have a positive impact on the larger world. What we gain here, we share. What we learn here, we use for the sake of uplift and betterment. Alumni and leaders of Sweetbriar, students experience it, and alumni model these actions. Sweetbriar has always been fully engaged with the world, including in its troubles and tumults. The Spanish flu at Sweetbriar was a non-event, and maybe a foreshadowing of what was to come 100 years later with COVID, when the college navigated the global pandemic without incident. Another shining example during the Second World War, when President Glass was determined that women too would lead. She was instrumental in the formation of WAVES, Women Accepted for Volunteer Service, the predecessor to the full inclusion of women in the Navy and all of the U.S. Armed Services. She also went head to head, you'll love this, with the Navy brass in insisting that women would have the same color uniforms as men. Yes, she really did, and she prevailed. There's more. One recent book, The Code Girls, details the contributions of Sweetbriar alumni, as well as many other women, made toward cracking the enemy ciphers, or codes, as we have known them to be. President Glass wrote back in 1943, when the war was raging and the outcome not yet certain. Sweetbriar's usefulness today calls for alertness, insight, and courage. Courage, there's another word. Sweetbriar women have met the test in the past, and yet every passing year poses some new test for this college and for those who bear the rose. We must be courageous as we face the larger world, open to civil and respectful dialogue and debate in keeping with the college's honor code, and yet firm in our resolve to lift our voices and be women of consequence. The first of these resolutions is staying true to our mission, the education of young women, all the while protecting the safety and dignity of the women. We will never waver on this. We pledge to always keep the faith with our roses. This is Sweetbriar's mission, and we will be true to honoring it, honoring our trust and our duty. We realize that other schools have chosen other paths. We respect their right to do so. But if diversity means anything, it means multiplicity, different people and institutions seeking out different journeys. However, here at Sweetbriar, we have our unique answer. We have our own proven model. We have a legal responsibility and a moral mandate to fulfill our mission for girls and women, and that's what we will do. We are fully committed to our mission. Moreover, we are fully confident that a great many girls, women, including alumni and their families and fellow citizens, all see the value and wisdom of our course. This is the philosophy that will guide Sweetbriar during my tenure. Our role on behalf of girls and women, reaching back more than a century, and yet we can say to the world, together, we will balance fidelity and quality, diversity and sustainability, so that all of you might bear the rose. We are building new partnerships in the Commonwealth, the region, and around the world. For instance, we are particularly excited about our partnership with the Institute for World Politics in Washington, D.C. IWP's president, Dr. Aldona Vosh, has a profound vision of student opportunity, government service, and international leadership. This signals to many outside of Sweetbriar's gates that we are building on our legacy of government service and devoted to protecting freedom. Some of you who may not stand in this audience today, but you know who you are, who have served our nation with distinction, and our heroines on the front lines of oppression across the globe. Thank you for your service. Today, I've mentioned 3 founding figures of our heritage: Indiana Fletcher Williams, Daisy Williams, and President Meta Glass. Please indulge me while I tell you about one more consequential woman, Mary Wollstonecraft. You might ask, who is she, and what does she have to do with Sweetbriar? She has everything to do with Sweetbriar because she was ahead of her time and her values align and resonate with Sweetbriar's mission. She is someone we should all know. She was born in England in 1759 and never visited America, and yet her guiding spirit abides wherever women seek to flourish, especially to learn, especially at Sweetbriar. Growing up in a world where women had few education opportunities, she focused on educating herself, developing a formidable candor. As she wrote when she was a teenager, "I have a heart that scorns disguise and a countenance which will not dissemble." In Thoughts on the Education of Daughters, she added, "Judicious books enlarge the mind and improve the heart." To Mary, education was the equalizer. In the words of one of her biographers, she did not want to grow up to be a tyrant like her father or a slave like her mother. She had to discover for herself the right course to normal maturity. It was this desire for equality that led her to publish in 1792 A Vindication of the Rights of Woman. She wrote, "I do not wish for women to have power over men, but over themselves. Indeed, women should labor by reforming themselves to reform the world." In the words of one of Mary's many biographers, quote, "Her charm was not the placid charm from which rises from beauty and graciousness alone. It was the positive, energetic charm of a courageous woman eager to serve humanity." Mary wrote of herself, "Surely something resides in this heart that is not perishable, and life is more than a dream." Mary passed away when she was only 38, and yet her works have never perished. Her life proving to be much more than a dream. Today, more than 2 centuries later, her dream is our dream, and our ongoing work is truly a vindication of the rights of women. I've mentioned 4 females: Indiana Fletcher Williams, Daisy Williams, Meta Glass, and Mary Wollstonecraft, living across 3 centuries, all speaking the same essential truth about the unique value of women. If you listen, even now, you will hear the soft whisper of timeless traditions at this college. You will also hear the voices of women who worked and sacrificed to make it possible for you to be here and for us to be here together. In so gathering, we honor their trust and seek to burnish their legacy, helping it to shine all the more forever. This wondrous campus will always be a sanctuary of safety for a women's core leadership curriculum, a learning laboratory for engineering, sustainability, and the arts, and a fortress for women. You'll make friends here that you'll hold close to you for the rest of your life. Included in this will be the sisterhood of Sweetbriar women from generations, even centuries past. Then in your mind's eye, you might think of all the sisters to come. That's the full continuum of eternity, rows upon rows upon rows. To the students, we pray that in the years after you graduate, you will return often, perhaps for a visit, perhaps to join us in our work, perhaps to bring with you a prospective student, a new bearer of the rose. But wherever you go and whatever you do, we trust that whatever titles and honors you might accumulate, you will always think of yourself, too, as a vixen. Perhaps 40 or so years from now, or sooner, one of you will be standing where I am now. And yet every Sweetbriar woman can be inspired by our guardian angels, Indiana and Daisy, Meta and Mary, and all of our other sisters. I have faith that they are smiling on us even now. Here at Sweetbriar, we can bask in the warmth of their vision, even as we lead and prepare to lead. As a category of one, legacy, leadership, love, and courage are the foundation for the future. I see a future where Sweetbriar is once again the preeminent leader in women's education, where the quality of instruction is clearly reflected in the leadership roles played by its growing legions of graduates, where a restored and renewed nationally significant campus serves future generations, and a financially secure institution that is poised to meet any challenge that the future holds. And as individual women and as a sisterhood, form our grand procession, taking our movement forward to secure the future. We will bear the rose. Thank you.
May I help you?
Thank you. Thank you. It's coming undone. What is it?
So as we go out from here, it is good to remember the mission of this college, to forge ethical leaders with the skill, compassion, and wisdom to create a more just and sustainable world. And now, may the God of love bless us and keep us. May that God lead us forth with integrity and with vision and with kindness and with courage. And may the God of peace, the peace that passes all understanding, keep our hearts and our minds in the knowledge and embrace of God's love. Amen.